Hey, it's the last video of Cult Month.
It's already happened so soon.
Well, yeah, that's what happens when you only upload once every 2 weeks. Whoops.
Lame.
Don't piss me off, pink boy. So I've decided to end Cult Month on, well, everything that comes to mind when you think of a cult. Insane rules, abuse, exploitation, and of course, a bat leader at the helm of it all. But unlike our last cult, which was effectively ended in 1997, this one's still around. Actually, they thought it was gone because obviously you can't operate without a leader, but then they found some guy's leg near a golf course. Honestly, it's just better if you stick around and hear it for yourself.
What the fuck?
I'm Vibby, and on this episode of A Space Alien Explains, The Work. The story of The Work begins with a man named Julius Schacknow, or as he would later come to be known as, Brother Julius. Not to be confused with Orange Julius. I know, hard to tell the difference. Julius was raised in the Jewish faith, but converted to Christianity after serving in the Navy. He drew in a following as a fundamentalist preacher, and one day, he declared himself to be Jesus Christ reincarnated. How did he get away with saying that? Well, you can say anything you want as long as you've got enough charisma. Hundreds of people were mesmerized by Brother Julius and his teachings, and before you knew it, he had his own little religious sect known as The Work. Members of The Work had to follow strict rules. They were given new names and wore robes and large pendants. They weren't allowed to wear black because it was associated with the devil, and it was frowned upon for women to wear makeup. Julius also imposed strict moral guidelines regarding modesty and behavior. None of which applied to him, of course. He ended up with, 7 wives. He also, convinced women that the only way to salvation was to have sex with him, molested his stepdaughter, asked another man in the cult to permit his wife to sleep with him, said to a teenage girl, "You want to feel the spirit of God where it counts?" Made the claim that having sex with him was God's work. He was f***ing gross, you get the point. By the late 1970s, Julius was starting to run out of money. He put his chief apostle, Paul Sweetman, in charge of the finances. Several of the cult's members were enlisted to help with the group's construction and real estate businesses, which were financially successful, but hardly any of the followers got a cent in return. Essentially, slave labor. Remember the name Paul Sweetman. He shows up again later. Well, only part of him anyway. It was also at this point that Julius began claiming he was mother***ing God himself.
He didn't actually say mother***ing.
Let me have my fun. A former cult member described him as a scriptural bullshit artist, which, I really like that description, actually. In 1986, 2 women filed lawsuits against Brother Julius. Obvious reasons why, but the statute of limitations made it impossible to file any criminal charges. In 1996, Brother Julius died of natural causes. But unfortunately, the story doesn't end there. Not by a long shot. Chief Apostle Paul Sweetman was put in charge of the cult. 3 years later, he was sent to prison for bank fraud, and a short time after his release, his wife Joanne reported him missing. Sometime later, a coyote was spotted with a severed leg on a golf course in New Britain, Connecticut. Police didn't think it was a big deal at first. You know how coyotes are. They're just out there chewing on random human body parts, and you can't help but think, ha, that's cute. In 2016, 12 years after Joanne first reported her husband missing, police carried out a DNA test and matched the severed leg to Paul Sweetman. According to investigators, Sweetman had been bludgeoned and then stuffed into a freezer while he was still alive. The body was dismembered and the pieces were scattered later on. And then, of course, one of the legs was found by a coyote. In August of 2018, 2 cult members named Rudy Hannon and Sorik Minery were arrested in connection with the murder of Sweetman. When questioned, the 2 suspects pointed the finger at each other. Other cult members described the situation differently. Some say that Hannon and Minery believe God wanted Sweetman dead. Others say that Joanne was the one who ordered the murder. Unfortunately, they couldn't bring in Joanne for questioning because she died in 2011. Humans would never dig up a body and put it up for questioning. That's just barbaric. The 2 suspects both pled not guilty and are awaiting trial. As for where the work is now, they're still around doing God knows what. So be careful, anyone who lives in Connecticut. Happy Thanksgiving! Probably a little early, considering it's only Monday, but happy Thanksgiving anyway. Hope you all have fun with your friends and family, and don't go starting any cults without me. Hi everyone! Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. This week's featured fan art is by Kitties Jr. on Twitter. Link to the artist page is in the description. And here's some comments from the last video. If you found this episode interesting, please be sure to drop a like and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. If you'd like to support the channel, I have art commissions and a Ko-Fi page available. Buy me a coffee and I'll make you a little sketch as a way of saying thanks. Links to all that, as well as links to my social media, are in the description. Thank you so much again for watching, and I'll see you real soon.